energy is off the charts. The squad is in full effect. Kmart can't believe it. Ready to roll. These guys are back again. Let's do this thing. Week 11, we're calling it Sunday Showdowns because it is the best Sunday slate we've had all season long. Peter, Chiefs, Broncos, what are you looking for in KC?
Hey, the Chiefs have already lost 3 games on the road, 2 of them to the Bills and the Jaguars, and also that game in Brazil was a road game. They're going to Denver. If they're going to do it in the playoffs, they're going to have to likely go on the road in the playoffs. Can we get a Chiefs version of a team that we can actually believe can make that trip and go on a journey in January?
I'm with you. The odds say they're the favorites to win the Super Bowl. They just don't play like it. Lewis, Bills and Bucks, huge game this weekend. What do you need to see from Buffalo?
I need to see better run defense out of this Buffalo defensive front. They gave up 6.2 per carry to the Miami Dolphins. Devon Achane went crazy on them. They're giving up 5.47 for the season. It's always about the trenches in November and December. If you can't stop the run, you know everything just trickles downhill from there. If Buffalo's going to be a legit Super Bowl contender, they got to fix things up front on the defensive side of the ball. Otherwise, they're going to be at home like with us, watching the rest of the teams go to the Super Bowl.
It's been strange to watch them. Neek, Eagles-Lions is a great Sunday night game. What do you need to see from Philly?
That pass rush. It felt like the Eagles of old, like last year's Eagles, the way they were getting after Jordan Love. If they can have this pass rush with the addition of Phillips continue, and they got Nakobe Dean back in the middle, if that front seven is as dominant as they were against the Packers, they're going to be a problem for everybody in the NFC.
And then how about those Packers? They had some problems. Now they play the Giants, who just fired their coach. Jeff, what do you looking for in Green Bay?
Yeah, they got to start putting some points on the board. When you think about the Green Bay's lost 3 games when their defense has only allowed 16 points or fewer, you're in trouble. And you talk about Matt LaFleur being an offensive coach. Love is struggling. Look, they got O-line issues with injuries. They got wide receiver issues. Ain't no excuses in the NFL. This was a team that people thought had the talent to win the Super Bowl. They got to start producing on offense and take advantage of how good that defense really is.
Otherwise, the fallout could be fascinating. And I'll tell you who was talking about that. The big dog, Chris Canty, did not hold back when talking about Jordan Love yesterday on First Take. Listen.
I'm very concerned. Jordan Love is bad, and he's probably going to get his coach fired if he can't get it fixed. That's where we at. Here's the quiet.
That's very, very, very harsh.
Yeah, but here's why it's very, very, very fair, Stephen A.
Okay.
You make the move that the Green Bay Packers did before the season in trading multiple first-round draft picks and Kenny Clark, who is a perennial Pro Bowler, for Micah Parsons. What you are saying is that you believe this roster is good enough to contend for a championship. And every single facet of the football team is playing at a high level, except for the quarterback.
I got to tell you, my first reaction when I heard it was I agreed with Stephen A. Whoa, this seems like we're going a little far here. And then as I listened to Chris Canty, the question came out, it's a big statement. The question is he right?
Honestly, when I heard the conversations about Matt LaFleur's job security, I was like, what are we doing? You look at that defense. This is a defense that's given up, I think in their 3 losses, like 13 points.
Correct.
Like, I get the quarterback is the issue. I think the unfortunate thing for Matt LaFleur is every time you want to crown the Packers as like, oh, they're loaded. This is the time that they're going to actually show the world. They start to fall back, and you're like, what is this team? You don't know what to make of it. But to say that Matt LaFleur, we were just praising him not that long ago as like an underrated coach. Like, you know, when Aaron Rodgers was there, you get him out of there, and now you see him with Jordan Love, and you're like, this guy can really coach, and now we're saying he needs to go. I just don't see it. I really don't.
This is a tip. The point is he's an offensive coach. He's supposed to have the quarterback ready to play at a level. I think Chris Canty sort of laid it out well.
Yeah.
If this is a team that is not assured of making the playoffs, Domonique.
Now, I think if they had a great season and lost only a couple of games and then had 1 loss in the playoffs, people would forgive that. I think the problem is the expectations got so high, and they've had 3 really kind of ugly, bad losses that fall on his lap. Whether he's going to get fired or not, obviously, I don't know, but I know you can't change anything else. If they get to the end of this season to determine something needs to get changed, they're not going to change the quarterback. Those are too hard to find. The general manager has kind of been awesome for the time that he's been there.
Yep.
Like, that would be the person you look at. I'm not arguing that you should, but I could understand how someone would get to the point where we traded all this. We're going all in. Why are we worse than we expected?
Are head coaches easy to find? Do good head coaches easy to find?
No, but they're much easier to find than quarterbacks.
Okay, let's take a look at this. All right, so let's think about the wide receiver core in Green Bay right now. Do we know how decimated the wide receiver core is?
Yeah.
Okay, we know Tucker Kraft is gone, right? 3 weeks ago, we were looking at the Green Bay Packers when they were bludgeoning the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they were going, hey, these guys are shoo-ins to go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Jordan Love lit it up that night. Now, he's had 2 games in a row now where it hasn't looked very good. Okay, how many drops did they have last night?
3.
How well did they run the football last night? Who did they lose last night? Elton Jenkins. Yeah. Zach Thomas hurt. Jayden Reed is hurt. Dontavian Wicks was coming off of injury. People dropping passes all over the place. They can't run the football right now. Did you see the defensive line of the Eagles? They were resetting the line of scrimmage over and over again. Does Jordan need to play better? Yes. Yeah. Is it all him? Absolutely not. We always know that injuries and availability really affects the quarterbacks and what's surrounding them. And what's surrounding him right now are a bunch of guys who aren't really playing up to their potential either.
Yeah.
Because 3 weeks ago, we were ready to say, look, this team is a shoo-in to be in Santa Clara. Yeah. Always saying that coaches are going to get fired and stuff, I think that's just a little ridiculous.
Not all of us said that about let me say this about Jordan Love. The portion about Jordan Love that he has to own is this. In the Browns game, right? He's the one who throws a late fourth quarter interception, cost him the game, right? You go to Carolina last week. He throws an arm punt into triple coverage. He really should have thrown another one down in the red zone, right? So, but he gets away with that one, so that one doesn't happen. But they end up losing that game. And then in the game against on Monday night against the Eagles,
this play,
he has a fumble at the end of the first half, which again points are at a premium, right? It's 0-0 at the time. When the quarterback, so much is given, much is required. Because y'all going to tell me this guy, every quarterback can only be in discussion for the MVP. Well, if this is an MVP candidate and he is not doing his portion, then at some point the blame has to go to him. So if LaFleur is having conversation with, hey, you can't cost us. And right now, Jordan Love is. Everybody talks about elevating those around them. Right now, that's not happening in Green Bay, and there are reasons. I'm not making excuses. Yeah. There are reasons. Wide receiver, offensive line, all those things. But the quarterback cannot be the guy that's the reason, and right now he has been the reason in 3 games where they've given up 16 or less.
But
he's out for the season.
When you're putting Bo Melton in big moments, who has been playing corner for you and hasn't been practicing at wide receiver, that is desperate. That said, this defense is playing so good, and they are playing so dominantly. To waste these efforts with losses, everyone's eyebrows raised. Rob Domofsky had that article that we all read this last couple of weeks. It's fact. Ed Policy is the new president. For years, it was Mark Murphy. He did 20 years. He moves on. Ed Policy was one of the guys who was like, go get Micah Parsons. A different feel for the Packers. Not a team that's usually aggressive like that. Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur, their contract situations are up in air. That's why it leads to speculation about this. LaFleur and Love, they do need to put it together here because at some point, everyone in that market's going to turn and say, who are we pointing at? You guys are the ones.
100%. Can I say this, too, about defense? When defense, like the Packers defense, I don't think we're talking about how good this defense really is. Think about the difference in our game. Y'all, most people start the ball at average at the 35 or further. I mean, you're a first down away from kicking a field goal.
Right.
That they're giving up 16 or fewer and still losing games.
Also,
look, if you're the head coach, it's one thing. If you're the coordinator and head coach, that's another thing, right? Because you're putting this thing together. At some point, you got to find a way to get points and win the game.
It's hard to look at your defense after you stop Saquon 60 yards and A.J. Brown has 13 yards and be like, it's going to need it again for you next week, guys.
Yeah, I mean, you put on top of it that the defense isn't even generating a bunch of turnovers. The defense is probably even going to get better. But I think the point is, the games that they've lost, I think you could forgive the Eagles game. It hurts because it looks bad offensively, but that's a good team. The other 2 teams, you're not supposed to be in those games. So I know those late interceptions were a problem. Those aren't supposed to be close. And all the little things that are an issue, I would certainly not argue to fire Matt LaFleur.
No.
But all those things not coming up for those big moments, who else do you look at other than the head coach to say, get this right?
Yeah, there's a half a season to go.
Exactly.
The conversation about firing Matt LaFleur is obviously premature. The point is, I think it is also a good way of illustrating that it might be a little bit of desperation time in Green Bay. This is a team that when they got Micah Parsons is exactly what Canty said. Yeah. That is a signal from Ed Policy and the organization. The time to win it is now. And right now they're in 3rd place in their division. And their offense, look, they're averaging 10 points per game in losses offensively.
Especially in that division where you've got J.J. McCarthy, who's essentially in his rookie season, and you've got Caleb Williams, who's in the first season with a new head coach and Ben Johnson.
And ascending. And you've got Detroit is looking good, and those teams out west look ridiculously good. If not now, then when?
There's 8 more games to go.
Right. Yeah.
They are going to get some players back. Tucker Kraft isn't returning. Jayden Reed isn't returning, but Zach Tom will be back. Jordan Love will get this thing squared away. It's the 2-game, 3-game sample where we're in the middle of the season, and we're talking about this guy costing Matt LaFleur his job. I mean, we know that things ebb and flow in the NFL. We know that they do. We know guys go through slumps. We see it every year. But we can't start calling for the fact that, well, Jordan Love now stinks. They overpaid him. This is going to be a team that's going to be up for massive overhaul. Brian Gutekunst, this last year when we're sitting there on the draft desk, we're going, this guy has constructed one of the best rosters in the NFL.
Right.
There is no question that he should be re-upped and given an extension and a raise. There's no question about that.
But they didn't.
I think by the end, I think it's going to come. I think it's going to come. Things ebb and flow in the NFL.
I'm
man.
with you.
They
Let
ebb
me
and
make it
flow in
clear
the
what
NFL.
my opinion. Chris Canty obviously can more than speak for himself.
And by the way, he didn't want LaFleur fired. He was talking about how Jordan Love was playing.
That's what
at the current time.
The quarterback
Yeah,
is playing the kind of way that gets coaches fired.
Right.
I think that if you were to underline a point, that's what he's saying. If they fired Matt LaFleur, there would be a line around the block
Amen.
of people looking to hire him.
Yes.
That's an important point to underline. I guess I should have started the conversation a different way. Are the Packers, is Jordan Love's play becoming a problem that we should be taking more seriously when we talk about this team?
I mean, we have to accept that we're coming off a few weeks ago. He went 20 for 20 in the first half and was balling. So, we know he has the capability to have really great stretches of football. But we also have to appreciate the fact that there's a lot of other issues. They had a bunch of pre-snap penalties on important plays. They had a bunch of drops that Lou brought up before. I think the problem with this team is we're always going to focus on the quarterback, but this is why the head coach name comes up, is because there's so many different things that are the problem.
2 losses, back-to-back weeks in Lambeau is alarming. And also they went from the 1 seed after that Pittsburgh game where we were all celebrating them to now the 7 seed where it would be a much different journey to the Super Bowl. And also that 7 seed is what they were last year. And we got Micah Parsons.
Right.
We invested, so I think there's some reason.
So when it comes to the North, there are a lot of head-banging games coming up here in November and December where these guys are going to wind up picking each other off. There's a lot of big-time battles coming up.
It's a good point. The Packers have played 1 of their division games so far. They still have 5.
After this one, they got 3 in a row.
So that's going to, all of this will come out in the wash.